The IMPRODUCT function within Excel allows us to perform a multiplication of two complex numbers. Now, whenever you're working with complex numbers, you might be wondering what the product of two of those numbers would be. Now, naturally, you might assume that we can perform a regular multiplication just like we would do when working with real numbers. So if I was working with real numbers instead of complex numbers, I would select the first number, then type an asterisk to indicate that I want to multiply, and then I supply the second number and press enter. Unfortunately, when doing this with complex numbers, you will receive a value error. The reason for this is that complex numbers are considered to be text or strings in Excel, and we cannot do any kind of calculations with them. So, in order to multiply complex numbers together, we will have to use a special function especially designed for this operation. The function we're looking for is the IMPRODUCT function, which will return the product of a couple of complex numbers. Now, we can add multiple complex numbers together, so I could either multiply two numbers or I could multiply a whole range of numbers. Now, let's try this first with two numbers. So I select my first number, and then I select my second number, and I press enter, and there we get a result. Okay, let's try and multiply some more numbers together. So we use the IMPRODUCT function, and then I will be multiplying all of these 8 numbers together. I press enter, and there we have the result, a new complex number. Now, what is actually going on behind the scenes here? Well, just like with regular multiplication, we basically want to put parentheses around these numbers. So let's take this example here of 2 plus 6i. Well, this was actually achieved by doing 2 plus 2i times 2 plus I. Okay, so now we have to distribute this. Now what we are getting is we have 2 times 2 plus 2 times I plus 2i times 2 plus 2i times I. Okay, so now we simplify this a bit, so we are getting 4 plus 2i plus 4i plus 2i times I. Okay, now notice the last term we have is 2i times I. Now the definition of I is that I equals the square root of -1. So when we multiply I times I, we are multiplying the square root of 1 with the square root of 1. So I times I equals -1. So we can further simplify this to 4 plus 6i plus, and here we have 2 times -1 because I times I was -1. So this is actually -2. Okay, so the final result ends up being 2 plus 6i, which was indeed the result that was returned using the IMPRODUCT function. So whenever you need to multiply complex numbers, some of them can be complex, some of them can be real, we can use the IMPRODUCT function. Each argument contains a range of numbers that we want to multiply with each other. Thanks for subscribing and leaving an optional tip. Consider watching this video next.